Liv wondered if he had ever stood mere feet from the boogeyman and listened to his rattling breath, which seemed to promise the cruelest of endings. Maybe if he had, he would have said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Oh, and the boogeyman. Run from that monster before it gets you." Even her usual attempts at internal banter didn't help. She lifted her hand and found that she was violently vibrating, as if the floor under her was quaking badly. Liv glanced down. The floor was still. It was she who was trembling. And with each passing moment, it was getting worse. She had to get control of herself, but first, she had to run. Liv sprinted for the next bend, hopefully putting enough space between her and the boogeyman to buy her the time she needed to survive. With her back pressed against the next wall, Liv took measured breaths. She'd learned from Akio, her combat instructor, that a 1-to-2 ratio activated the rest and restore sequence in the body. That was what she needed right then. A restoration of her mind, her emotions, and more importantly, her body. That was what the boogeyman would measure when she said those 5 simple, magical words. He apparently could assess someone's physiology, like a monstrous lie detector. If she didn't mean those 5 words, he would know, and then it would be too late for a plan B. Blowing out a breath, Liv closed her eyes and pictured herself in bed as a young child. She remembered experiencing the fear she was feeling now. She remembered feeling it when her bladder was full and the bathroom was along 15 feet away. Too many times she'd thought she'd pee in the bed rather than simply make the walk across the darkened space. She forced herself to relive that memory now, speaking to her younger self. "He doesn't own you," she stated in her mind. "He might be real, but the fear comes from your own imagination," Liv stated definitively in her mind. "The boogeyman can't hurt you." She watched in her mind's eye as her younger self pushed her covers aside, swinging her feet over the bed. Little Liv nearly hiccuped on her breath as the soles of her feet touched the floor, like she expected something to grab her from under her bed. "Don't fear him," adult Liv said loudly in her mind, speaking over the scuttling sound of the boogeyman drawing closer. She tried to stay focused. Little Liv took a step forward, gauging the shadows all around her in the darkened room. "There's nothing there," Liv said out loud for the dark building and the boogeyman to hear. In her mind, little Liv continued toward the bathroom, not exhaling until she made it there unharmed. Liv's eyes sprang open in the darkened corridor. To her surprise, her pulse was steady, her breath too. Her mind was clear of the exhausting fear that had been controlling her. She nodded to the darkness like she'd made an agreement with it. Then, without giving herself a moment to hesitate, she stepped around the corner and faced the long corridor she'd come down. In the center, crawling along the tattered carpet, was the worst beast she'd ever seen. He was black and moved like a serpent along the floor, his yellow eyes wide and his mouth full of sharp, jagged teeth bared. Liv lifted her chin and her hand at the same time, glaring straight into the soulless monster's eyes. "I'm not scared of you," she exclaimed, holding her hand up, her fingers spread wide. Nothing happened for a long few seconds, and then the boogeyman spiraled into blackness, a screech spilling from him that made her teeth hurt. He flew toward her hand, crumpling into her palm like a cobweb she'd swatted from a corner. When he was little more than wadded-up darkness in her hand, Liv pulled a bottle from her cape and slapped her palm on the top of it. The clear bottle filled with blackness. Before the boogeyman could escape, Liv stuck a cork in it, trapping the monster. He would be secure there until she'd put him in his new place for what would hopefully be the rest of time. Chapter 2. Repairing the stairs that led to the gates to the underworld had taken both Liv's and Clark's efforts. That was because the magic under the Craft Mall in Canada was strong, meant to protect the entrance to such a powerful and strange place. However, Liv was going to need a way to get down there so that she could put the new guard in place. That was why they had to ensure the stairs were rebuilt.